Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Apex Clean Energy, growing a better future for local farmers and landowners in our local communities, takes this time to congratulate the area 4-H'ers that put their heart and soul into raising their cattle, hogs, rabbits, chickens, or growing their plants and flowers, or other culinary delights, all to be shown at this summer's County 4-H and Junior Fairs. Your dedication to agriculture is shown in all the ribbons you bring back to your local county and community. Way to go, 4-H'ers, for your hard work. From Apex Clean Energy, growing a better future for local farmers and landowners in our local communities.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln. Good to see you, Ed. How you doing?
Doing great, Seth. Thanks for having me on.
Are you like sticking to yourself? It's like so humid, like your clothes sticking to you and all that, your fingers are sticking to each other. Are you sticky right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I peel myself off of the chair every couple of minutes just to make sure I'm not becoming part of it. So yeah, it's really muggy.
Sitting like on a fabric sofa or like some sort of comfort chair just is the worst right now. Like you just feel disgusting. But be all that as it may, Ed, how long is this humidity going to stick around? Golly, it is. I mean, it's oppressive. I love the summer. I could take the summer 7 days of the week and twice on Sunday. But even for me, this is oppressive. How long is this sticking around?
Yeah, we're going to be really in this soup until a cold front moves through on Wednesday. And then we're going to see some relief and real relief, actually, this time, not like that fake cold front we got last Friday, which didn't do much. We're going to, see highs maybe is in the upper 70s only for highs coming up in early August. So that'll be a surprise if it does happen. But, somewhere in that realm, we're going to see some relief, though, heading into next weekend.
There you go. Ed, we really needed the rain of the last week to 10 days. I look out the backyard and it was getting brown. It was getting dry. It was not growing. And boy, you could hear it getting green, and now you can hear it whistling as it's growing. Like we just needed that rain.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we really replenished a lot of deficits in the last week or so. Even at our office in Lincoln, we had one day where we had 2.25 inches of rain, and just a lot on the 25th there. So I brought up Coco Raz for the amounts for the whole month so far, and there's a 10-inch amount in Logan County. There's an 8+ in Payette. The DeWitt ones aren't pegging up that high, but McLean has an 8.7 for 1 month, and we average about 5 inches of rain in July. So we're above normal almost across the board right here in Central Illinois.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what are some of the, where were we at in terms of like rainfall deficit? You mentioned a 10-inch report in Logan County. I know they've just been inundated with rain. What are some of the standout totals across the area, and where were we at before all this?
Yeah, we were in somewhat of a drought, and actually the drought monitor from last Thursday for DeWitt County does have us in D1 or D0, excuse me, which is abnormally dry. And there's actually a little bit of D1 moderate drought in eastern near DeWitt County, near Farmer City. So, we started out heading into this particular last 5-7 days below normal in terms of the drought monitor. But I think we've replenished, enough in the soils that most of the area should see this drought condition dissipate, and I'm showing us above normal by about 2.5 inches of rain now. So a lot of the area got upwards of 4 inches of rain in those last 3, 4, 5 days. So we probably we were probably an inch or so below normal, and now we're a couple of 2.5 above for the most part.
Yeah. So were we trending for a pretty wet August or for a pretty wet July? I don't know how it stacks up to years past or where that data falls. What can you tell us there, Ed?
Yeah, in terms of top tens, I don't have that right in front of me, but I can find it here pretty quick. But yeah, I don't know that we're going to quite hit. July can be a really wet month. You can get a 5-inch rain in no time. So it's going to be probably it may approach the top 10 for wettest months, but I think there's just been so many really wet Julys. You got to get like 12 plus inches of rain in July to really get up into the the record area.
Well, and plus we started so dry. We were going days and days and days without any rain. So
yeah, exactly. Here's the records. I'll bring them up. So July precipitation records for July. These are dailies, but yeah, I'll get to the top 10.
It's fine.
Here.
It's fine. We'll get there. We'll get there. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is our guest on the Zoom here for this morning. Ed, we talk about it. It feels like most of that rain has fallen in the last week. Like I said, week or 10 days. Because I mentioned the yard was getting brown. It was not growing very much, and now it's all green and it's ready to be mowed. Unfortunately, and hopefully, it sounds like though from what you said, we could have a chance for some reprieve at the end of the week. I don't know if you got those totals for us yet there or not.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the top 10. If we're roughly around 8 to 9 inches, that would put us number 6 overall, top wettest July. So the number 1 is 15.93, 92. But yeah, anywhere in that 8-inch amount, then you're in the top 10.
Yeah. Well, and do you think the whole state will fall in line for that? I mean, or is that just at your office there?
It's really hit or miss looking at the map. I'm surprised to see the DeWitt County Kokoraj sites with only like 3.67. But I know there's been more rain than that in certain areas. So it just may have just missed a couple of the Kokoraj localities there.
Right,
but
right.
When you got northern Logan County, right, not far away from DeWitt with, nearly 10 inches, you got to suspect that, just across the border, McLean 5.28 for the month so far.
Yeah.
Even just south of us in Macon, 5.93, 6.6. So, DeWitt County is kind of surrounded by at least, 5 to 6 inches or more.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that portions of DeWitt are also beneficially seeing that rain already so far.
Sure. Been wet. How about temperatures for July so far, Ed? Where we fallen in terms of the temperatures in July?
We're above normal by almost 2 inches. So this last 2 weeks have really pushed us up. The low temperatures not even getting barely into this upper 60s. We normally are in the mid 60s for lows, and we haven't had a mid 60 for an overnight low for about a week and a half or more, and even the rest of the month. Yeah. So in the daytime highs, upper 80s is just above normal. We're normally around 85 this time of the month. So we've been above normal almost every day the last 2 weeks. So a couple of them were 83, I guess. But, for the most part, yeah. So we're about almost 2 inches above 2 degrees above normal, which is a lot. I mean, in July, you're definitely dealing with that heat when you peg July above normal by almost 2 degrees.
Yeah, we've seen a couple stretches of some heat advisories being issued. So.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yeah. So, and we've had cumulative effect with this heat too. Last week and this week, your body starts to dehydrate each day a little bit more, unless you really, concentrate on getting that water and electrolytes in. So, your body is ready to, actually succumb to some of that heat, if you haven't been hydrating. And then there's also that acclimation. If you hydrate and keep your body fueled, you will acclimate to that heat over time properly. But you do need that fluid intake. Otherwise, you really won't acclimate properly.
Okay. Good to know. Been hot, been wet, been humid. It's been July in Illinois, right? Ed, as we wrap up this first segment, let's get into the forecast here for the next day or two. I saw some severe weather potential out to our west. It looks kind of central western Iowa, maybe into the Dakotas and the upper Midwest. Is any of that going to get down this far south?
Yeah, we've got a marginal risk on Wednesday. That Wednesday risk is going to start to increase. That's probably our most threat zone for severe weather will be when that cold front comes through, because it's going to be an air mass changer from this humidity to almost a Canadian type air mass. So we just got to keep our eye on where the models resolve that energy and where it's going to really, crank up some severe storms, because there's going to be severe storms on Wednesday. It's just going to be luck of the draw where those hit, but wind damage is going to be one of the primary things out of those as the air mass changes quickly. And that's when you mentioned a derecho. I mean, they can happen on these types of situations, but we'll probably see more just pockets of damage, I think, at this point with because it'll be going through during the day. Those derechos are really timed a lot of times for those nighttime jet stream increases, those what we call nocturnal jets. And then you just get a Boeing line of storms that just goes crazy overnight. Obviously, they can happen during the day too, but it doesn't look like the timing of this cold front is going to be favorable for a real big derecho at this point. So
Okay.
we'll keep an eye on it, though. Wednesday's going to be interesting.
We woke up to some thunderstorms this morning, Ed. Are we going to continue to see these pop-up storms throughout the next couple of days?
Yeah, at this point, the air mass is primed. There's going to be a little 20% chance in there. I think it's pretty isolated, although we've got a chance 70% in there. So I guess they bumped it up a little bit more this afternoon. Nothing tonight. Tomorrow, actually Tuesday just says sunny. So we may have a little bit of a break on Tuesday and not see as many, thunderstorms. Today I'll have a little bit bigger chance. But then Wednesday is that 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock time frame is really our target zone at this point to be some really intense storms coming through with heavy rain.
So when they pass, will it feel cool? I mean, will you notice the significant cool down at that point?
Yeah, we're expecting a big cool down after this one, and humidity wise too. Let me look at some of the dew points dropping down. Yeah, dew points will be in the mid 50s. That's Thursday night. It's going to take a little bit. Thursday, though, we'll see dew points in the mid 60s, almost 12 degrees below where we're at right now. And then the dew points will drop in the mid 50s as we head into Friday. So Friday's the day you're really going to notice what's our high. Oh, high on Thursday of 74. I don't know what to see about that, but a high of 74 is going to feel like you stepped into a refrigerator.
Especially after the last few days, for sure.
Oh,
speaking of that, Ed, dew points. I should have mentioned this when we were talking about the last few weeks here. Dew points, man. You were telling me they're upwards of 80 degrees, right? And it's almost unheard of to get that high.
Yeah, it is. And under normal conditions, without the cornfields pumping moisture, and we really wouldn't have that reached on a normal occasion. But this July, the evapotranspiration, the plants just pushing moisture into the air through the leaves has caused the dew points to be about 4 to even 5 degrees higher locally across central Illinois and Iowa, and just the areas where corn is in full growth right now. The dew points are going crazy.
I saw a heat advisory in effect until Wednesday. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so there's going to be enough breaks during the day that with a dew point that high, if you hit 92, the heat index is going to be 110 with a dew point of 80. So, since the dew points are so high and we just dumped a bunch of moisture on the ground this morning, so that's readily going to keep the dew points high. And then any sunshine causes, the heat to climb into the low 90s, and then, your heat index is 105 is our heat advisory. If we climb above 110, then we talk about extreme heat warnings, but we're just going to be kind of near 110 or so once that sun pops out today.
Man, is it going to pop up today, or is this rain going to move off?
Yeah, the rain moved off, and I looked at the hourly plots, and we have a 20% chance in there lingering until about 10 or 11. But beyond that, we don't have any threat for storms in the forecast. So we're just going to heat up, and the sky cover is supposed to drop about 45%. So there's going to be peaks of sun, but still clouds are going to be filtering the sun a bit. But so it's not going to be completely sunny, but it's going to warm up. It's going to really get muggy and hot out there.
Well, all right. Keep an eye to the sky, as you always say, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, weather aware is what we really try to get people to comment with. It's every day. If there's going to be storms, going to be maybe flooding, just be aware of what time of the day. Check with the National Weather Service, weather.gov/Lincoln. Just make sure you know what might be impacting you and your family or your locations there.
Very good. Very good. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, our guest on the Zoom here this morning. More to come with Ed on the morning show.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. Corn, beans, and Chicago wheat all starting the week lower. September corn opening 3.98 and 3/4 down 3/4. December corn down half a penny, 4.18 and a half. March corn 4.35 and a half down a penny. August beans starting the day 9.92 down 6 3/4. September beans 9.96 1/4 down 5 3/4. November beans down 6, 10, 15. September Chicago wheat 5.34 3/4 down 3.5. December wheat opening 5.54 1/2 down 3 3/4. March wheat 5.73 1/2 down 3 1/4. August bean meal 266.90, that's down 90 cents. August bean oil 56.57, up 8 cents. Opening numbers on this Monday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Is the summer heat getting to you? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City, inviting you to cool down in a new Chevy. We have cool new crossovers like the Chevy Equinox or hot new trucks like the Chevy Silverado 1500, which has up to $7,500 in extra savings over our regular discounts. See all our inventory and prices online. And don't forget, we need and would love to trade yours in. Chevrolet, together let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
CEO Paul Scourin here from Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Call our family medicine clinic now to get your children's school physicals scheduled. We're accepting new patients of all ages. More info by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks again for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is my guest on the Zoom. And Ed, as we chat here for this morning, you mentioned a bit of a reprieve comes starting Wednesday. Give us the rest of the week. Wednesday, maybe evening time. I've got a 7-on-7 I want to go to. Hopefully it doesn't get washed out. They're on turf, so that'll be a bonus. But Wednesday evening, Thursday, Friday, weekend, what's the rest of the week look like?
Sure, yeah. Well, the cold front, as I'm looking at the wind direction changes on Wednesday, the peak storm period actually goes from about 1 o'clock till 6 o'clock. But we do have storm chances the rest of the evening and even in the overnight. So the front isn't going to be moving as quickly. So it's going to be kind of a wet, dreary Thursday morning, possibly still, but it'll be cooler. Morning low is 68, and it's not going to really climb that much. As I mentioned, Thursday high of 74. Breezy northeast winds, 15, gust to 25. So that air mass is going to be coming in, but we're not going to see that real nice day without rain until probably Friday, when we see high still in the 70s. I think I saw 74 for a high on Friday, and much less sky cover. So a sunny day, still breezy. It's going to be northeast winds, bringing that cooler air and drier air in, and not bad as we head into the weekend. Saturday, I'm not showing any precipitation chances. High of 74. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, because that's 10, 11 below normal for highs. And, that's going to continue. Even the outlook that goes from the 2nd of August through the 6th is showing below normal temp tendencies through that whole time period. I know it's going to start out on the cool side, but, that's going to be a pleasant start to August after the heat that we endured here the last 2 weeks.
Sure. What is the weather outlook or the Climate Prediction Center have for that first part of August? I mean, we'll start cool. Is it going to stick around?
Yeah, through the 6th, the tendency is below normal temps with near normal precipitation. But beyond that, once we start the 4th through the 10th, we have above normal returning. So above normal temps and right around near normal precipitation as well. So it's probably going to heat back up as we head into the state fair, which starts on the 7th. We're going to be helping out with that each day. But so that the second week of August, probably going to return to some, in mid 80s is normal. So if it's above normal, you're going to be seeing the upper 80s again. Dew point wise, I'm not sure we're going to quite peg as high as we are now, but certainly, with the corn still in full swing, I bet we will see dew points climb back into the 70s again.
Ed, let's highlight. You mentioned State Fair. You help out with that. You help out with State Fair. You help out with Illinois football. What goes on there? How do you do that? How are you a help to them?
Sure. Yeah, the emergency management community can request the National Weather Service to provide on-site support, which means we'll have a meteorologist right there as the weather liaison, and we actually provide briefings that are going to provide immediate impact weather information that they can make decisions quickly. And we can be, nimble and agile if things change quickly. And they have a lot of people, like the football games are 50,000 plus sometimes, the State Fair on average, especially on those weekend days, over 30,000 people or more sometimes there too. So, if people are vulnerable, we need to be on site for those events so that we can provide impactful decision-making information to those people in charge.
Gotcha. Do you actually set up at those locations, or are you just kind of remote like you are now?
No, we'll actually have a command vehicle at the State Fair. And then we go into the building, the Emerson building, where they have their operations center, and we'll brief in there, to bring all the main players together. At the football games, we're in the 9th level where they have the command center there. So we do have an outreach booth, though, at the State Fair so that we can be interactive if there's quieter days. We want to have safety information and discussions with the people attending the fair, to continue that outreach and educating the public on severe weather safety.
What's the Climate Prediction Center have for that kind of middle part of August when we get that State Fair started?
Yeah, it's looking above normal temps, below normal precip. The 9th through the 22nd is that 3 to 4 week outlook, and it's not intense heat. We're just 33 to 40% chance of above normal temps, but it could be in the normal mid 80s for highs and muggy. So plan to be getting that sunscreen out and drink lots of water for the State Fair this year. It doesn't look like a real big cool snap during the fair at all.
Gotcha. Well, Ed, any awareness campaigns, education campaigns the Weather Service has going on right now?
Yeah, we had a renewed heat campaign, especially for vehicular, like when kids are left in vehicles. The safety of kids, you forget, you run into a building, and you're like, oh, I'm only going to be in there a minute, and things change. Leaving kids in cars was one of the campaigns that we were kind of trying to promote and make sure, look before you lock is the key thing there. And, make sure that nobody is left behind like that. And we have had some vehicular kids that pass away in vehicles this year, unfortunately. So we're trying to remedy that and just make sure in your busy lives, you always are making sure there's nobody left in the car.
And remind us how quick that car can warm up on a day like, say, today, or even these, sunny but still in the 80s. How about some of those?
Yeah. It only takes 10 minutes for your car to climb from, like what would be comfortable 70 in the air conditioning to 100 in about 10 minutes. It doesn't take long. And then, you get up to that 125 to 130 degree in about 25 to 30 minutes. So it cranks up fast, and it's fatal. Your body can't survive when it gets above about 104 or 105 degrees. And we did have a potentially heat-related fatality in Peoria where someone was found with a body temperature of 110.
Wow.
So, the coroner's kind of looking at that. But right now, we probably lost somebody in Peoria to heat this past week. So,
well, Ed, I don't mean to do this to you, my friend. I got to let you go for the day. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, my guest. Network News on the way.
Oops. Sorry about that.